Hi everyone, it's me Stephanie again, coming to you from Transition Salon at 8124 Kennedy Avenue in Highland, Indiana. You can always call me at area code 219-838-8910 with your hair questions, of course. Or you might want to make a hair appointment today. You've just tuned in to Talking Transitions, the All About Hair channel, where we provide education and information for the educated consumer, brought to you by me, the educated professional. So we're going to jump right in today because last week we started talking about essential oils. Are they really essential? So we went over some different ones last week. We talked about jojoba oil and olive oil. We also talked about tea tree oil, peppermint oil, as well as coconut oil. Today we have another list that I wanted to really dive into, and the list that I have today is cedarwood, clary sage, sage, basil oil, juniper, frankincense, and lemongrass oil. Now those are some names that we don't really hear a whole lot about, but they do provide some definite advantages for their use in terms of our hair and scalp health. Okay, and again, just to kind of refresh from last week, we did notice that there was a lot of repetitiveness with the different oils, and what I mean by that is the oils were pretty much doing the same thing. So when you're combining and cocktailing the oils, it's not necessary. Do your research just like anyone else, but pick the ones that you feel will be most advantageous to your situation. But remember, a lot of those oils are very repetitive. And we're going to also find that here today with the oils that I've chosen to talk about. For example, cedarwood, clary sage, and sage all have the antifungal properties, the antiseptic properties, anti-inflammatory, as well as antibacterial and antioxidant properties. And what we do understand about having the antioxidant properties, the antifungal, the antibacterial, is what we talked about last week about the healthy scalp. So these different properties add to that. Remember, the essential oils do not mean that it's essential for our life sustenance, but what it does is it enhances what we have already going on to help really make that scalp really healthy. So take, for example, the antifungal properties that these three oils contain. A lot of times we don't realize that when we're not cleansing our scalp properly, when we're not cleaning our hair properly, or even the tools that we're using, remember those hair scarves, those bonnets, even our pillowcases that we're sleeping on, if we're not cleaning those items properly, they're retaining bacteria and different germs, and those can create funguses. Okay, and I've actually seen some situations in scalps where people have had fungus growing in the scalp because of a lack of care to the scalp. That does inhibit the growth of the hair. It does cause hair loss and some other hair problems. So if you do notice that you might be susceptible to these situations where there's a possibility that you have fungus growing in your scalp, then you can definitely use these different oils to help with that. Again, that's cedarwood, clary sage, and sage. I also noticed that these items also help with eczema. I do notice, that in the scalp we have situations where even if you have eczema in other areas of your body, we do notice it sometimes in the scalp as well. So these oils can also assist with the eczema to help relieve the itching, help relieve the redness. If you have inflammation, again, these items do contain those anti-inflammatory properties to help relieve some of those situations that you have with the eczema. Also, with the antiseptic properties of the oils, it also reduces the flakiness of the scalp, and it can also reduce dry scalp. If your scalp is dry and flaky, it's not always because you need moisture or you're dehydrated. Sometimes you just need to really clean that scalp. And using the proper antiseptic, or even using these oils that contain the antiseptic properties, can help relieve some of that, because that dry scalp and those flaky scalps can also lead to the itchiness, which the antiseptic can help out with. One thing that I did want to also bring to light is with the cedarwood, it also provides scalp stimulation. And what we do know about stimulating the scalp is it causes those hair follicles to really wake up, right? To really get them going, to get that that ACT process going, that anagen, catagen, intelligence stage, to really get it stimulated, get it excited about growing, okay, and really waking up those cells. So the cedarwood, remember, it's not a cure-all. We talked about that last week. These oils do not do that. But what they do is enhance what we already have going on. So just as a sidebar, never forget what we're putting in our bodies definitely has a direct impact to what we see on the outside. So always remember that. But the cedarwood can definitely help with the scalp stimulation. If you're noticing that the hair growth is slowing down, it could help, like I said, reactivate some of that life that should still be there in the scalp. And one thing I did want to point out about the clary sage is it contains dietary estrogens, and the dietary estrogens help regulate the estrogen levels in our bodies. So we know as we begin to age, our estrogen levels do drop. So the clary sage contains these dietary estrogens that's actually plant-based, but it can help regulate that hormone in our body. So that's not, it is a indirect relationship to our hair, but it's a direct relationship to what's going on in our bodies. So I did want to bring that to light. Now, one thing I do want to point out about the sage is that it contains camphor, which is definitely a good thing for the hair, but we have to be mindful about our dosage because it can also be toxic, okay? Also, sage is a nervous stimulant, meaning it wakes up the nerves, okay? Just the same way as with the cedarwood when I talked about the stimulation. When you have oils that stimulate, if you are epileptic, or if you suffer from hysteria, you really want to stay away from oils that can stimulate, because basically it's stimulating those nerves, and you don't want to really trigger any unnecessary issues if you're battling these particular conditions. The next three that are very closely related are, four actually, are basil, juniper, frankincense, and lemongrass. All four of these are antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, and as well as being an astringent. And I know that these words also were found in the other oils, but I connected these four because it did talk about these four oils improving your blood circulation. And also, when you're improving blood circulation, then you're bringing the nutrients to the hair follicles, okay? So it helps to strengthen those hair follicles, and it helps to strengthen the hair roots. So those four oils provide that, okay? They also, help with dryness. So if you're having the dry scalp, just like with the cedarwood, the basil, the juniper, the frankincense, as well as the lemongrass can also help out with the dryness. So we just talked about 7 oils. With all of these oils, you have the antibacterial, you have the astringent properties, and you have the anti-inflammatory properties, okay? Now with the first 3, the focus was the antifungal. Then we talked about the sage, how you have to be aware of using these certain oils that can possibly be toxic to your body with the particular dosage. So you have to be mindful about that, as well as issues that you already might be dealing with in the body. These stimulating oils can cause adverse effects in your body, so then they actually do become counterproductive. And the last 4 that we talked about, we really want to focus on them being scalp tonics. Things that are really going to clean the scalp, things that are going to improve that blood circulation, and really create a great breeding ground for hair growth. And with the oils that I talked about last week, as well as the ones I'm presenting to you on today, we want to make sure that we understand what they're doing. Okay, we want to provide a healthy breeding ground for hair growth. This is in no way a cure-all if you're already suffering from alopecia. That's a whole different conversation altogether. But I just wanted to bring to light some of the properties of the oils that we're using on today, so that we have a clear understanding of what we're putting on our hair and what we're putting in our bodies. So this is the end of my two-part segment on essential oils. We're going to have a new topic on next week. I'm really excited about it, so you guys please stay tuned. Hopefully you're subscribing so you get those little alerts to let you know when a new video has been posted. I want to thank you as always for tuning in to Talking Transitions, the All About Hair channel, where your hair is your glory. Let it tell its own story. Your hair is unique. It has something to say, so let it speak. I pray that this information has been a blessing to you and that you will have the opportunity to share it with others. I look forward to talking to you next week. Have a good night, everyone.